This week we've talked about choice, and more specifically being able to choose between yes and no, because as people pleasers, whenever we're asked to do something, it's like a default setting to yes. And even when we're learning how to say no, it gets really icky, and becomes like a sorry, but. So I've been posting things this week to just inspire a few people pleasers to do what's best for them, instead of what's best for whatever kind of user is using you. So what we're going to talk about is that choice. And as I said earlier on, it's about don't think about saying no as saying no. Right? You need to flip the switch and realize that when you're saying no to something else, it's because you're saying yes to you. So you're still actually saying yes. You're just saying yes to a different thing. I know it sounds a bit woo-woo, but it really makes a difference. And if you can, while you're learning this, there's this power of the pause that I talk about every now and again, which is really taking a moment or two to consider. Even if you say to someone, oh, I'm really sorry, but I can't make a decision on that right now. Yeah. It lets all of your little voices say, I'm sorry, be falling. But at the same time, you're giving yourself time to think, so that you can come back at that question from a place of responding calmly, rather than just reacting and saying, oh yes, I'll help you. And think about the real, the actual outcomes, the implications of saying yes and no, and not just that voice of judgment in your head. So that's kind of what we've been talking about this week. Just a reminder, if you want access to the mental health handbook, you can find it in the files. There's a link to it in the files. I've actually stored it in Google so that when my lovely clients nag me to add things to it, I add things to it. Also, I revamp things every now and again. So at the moment, there's like a compassionate morning routine, a compassionate evening routine. And, I update those every now and again. It's been a while. It has been a while. But yeah, so, and as I said yesterday, when I began the journey of learning how to say yes when it was the right thing to say yes to, and no when I wanted to, I was really focused on saying yes and no to foods in a binge eating situation. But so much more has come out of this journey of letting go of that judgment voice, a new home, a new half sister, all those kind of new things, as well as drastically reduced number of times that I say yes, really drastically. Please excuse me pausing. Hay fever is like wanting to close my throat at the moment. And if I don't keep swallowing, my voice will go completely. And yes, at the same time, if I do keep swallowing, it takes pollen down my throat, which makes me want to cough. So I kind of admitted yesterday that I was initially embarrassed by the amount of money I spent on retraining. Because, working in the corporate world, all of the stuff I learned there was sort of kind of, learning on the job. Oh, my phone just flickered. Maybe my phone is now telling me that I can't fly in here. No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's something else. That's something else. That's a tag for something else. No, I've just got the calendar advice. Tell me that it's in my diary. You know what? Sometimes I get really teed off with Facebook, but then I remember that I have a choice about it. Yeah, I have a choice. I'm going to close the phone. I have a choice to take my phone, close it, put it over there, and that's a choice. And it's me choosing not to get off with the tech issues. So anyway, back to this choice. I have learned to listen to my instincts, my intuition, trust myself. I've allowed myself and chosen in a really allowing, open, caring, unconditional love of myself way to pay more attention to the results that my clients are getting than my bank balance. Yeah? Just let that shit go. You know, that will happen or not. And in amongst all of the tools that I've learned for myself, my clients, my friends, my family, my community, and I throw that in because I've just been sat in the Rendlesham Radio.com. I call it the Radio Shack. It's actually a porta cabin. But I've been sitting in the Radio Shack, talking to local community as a knit and natter session. But you know, people can come there with their genuine things, and that's how I give to the community. So the whole result of this has been amazing for me, and that's why I wanted to kind of bring choice to a workshop. Sorry, I'm going to have to drink something. Just a second. Just a little sip. If I take too much, it goes the wrong way. Oh, hay fever, who'd have it? So I've been posting about choice all week. I've been posting about saying yes to the things you want to say yes to, not just because you've been asked. And appreciating that there are times when no is a good answer. Because logically, you know this makes sense. You know, my people please are friends. You know it makes sense, but we still do it all the time. And I say we because I'm a recovering people pleaser. And to change from overcommitted to comfortably spacious can be a challenge. But that's why I'm teaching you all these things, you know, reminding you to resource yourself so that you can say yes. And when you can't say yes, say no with a place of respect and love from yourself, because you're saying yes to you. I've got a couple of quotes from Albert Einstein, of all people, that I'd like to share with you today. The first one is one that a lot of people know, but here it goes. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to create them. That's been misquoted as we cannot solve our problems in a place where we created them. But it essentially says the same thing. You know? You need to literally pick yourself up and shift yourself sideways in order to look at those problems. Because human beings, yeah, us humans, we are hardwired to focus on the problems, on the negatives, on the dangers, on all the things you don't have and how to get those things and how bad it is without them. Yeah, right? You get me? Those things are bred into us by, you know, survival of the fittest job. This is science at its most basic. Okay, two cavemen go to the entrance of the cave and they both hear a rustle in the bushes outside. Yeah, the guy who's like positive vibes only, man, everything will be fine, like wanders out and gets eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. But the guy who, you know, points his spear and is suspicious of that noise, right? It might only be a squirrel, but he's the one who lives. He's the one who reproduces. He's the one who stays strong, who looks after his family, whose descendants survive. So what if I told you that you can rewire that part of your brain with one simple switch up? I don't often do simple switch ups, but this one really is. It's big and it's hard work, but it's simple and it's one thing. You're thinking, yeah, I must be out of my mind, right? Well, think about that. Is Tanya actually really mentally insane? Quirky, yes. Weird, maybe. A little bit out there, quite probably. But insane, no. So this one simple switch up is coming, but I wanted to give you another quote from Albert Einstein. And what I love about this quote is that it's an illustration of our brain's stupidity, really. Our brains are stupid because they don't, the brain in there, your brain, my brain, does not know the difference between an imagined scene in a guided visual meditation and what we actually see when we're out. when you're imagining something, the same parts of your brain light up. When you're imagining seeing a loved one running towards you, yeah, your body and your nervous system react in exactly the same way as if they were really there running towards you. Yeah. Imagining yourself in a hug with someone who you miss desperately can trigger those hormones. And this quote from Albert Einstein goes, imagination is everything, because it is the preview of life's coming attractions. Let me read that again. Imagination is everything, because it is the preview of life's coming attractions. Beautiful, yeah. So the next bit is, there is so much to life that I used to think was well and truly out of my control. Yeah? And my husband used to describe me as the most caring, considerate and compassionate, but mostly caring, the most caring control freak that he knew. Because in my job, I was, when I first started going out with him, I was working at British Telecom and I was a PA for a manager, and I had to control his entire team. I had to know exactly what they were doing, what they were working on, how much it was costing them, whether they were making money from support contracts and all this kind of stuff. I had to know everything. Bless him, the manager in question who I worked for didn't have to know anything. He just needed to know where he needed to be and have the appropriate information in the folder on his desk. And that was my job. But everything, going from believing that there were things that were out of my control, and also so much that I thought that I could control. Quite often things that I thought I could control, I had no business even trying to control them. Now, like who my stepson or son or daughter was going to be friends with or more loyal to, yeah. But now, after all that training, after all this life experience, after 56 years on this planet, I choose how I respond. I choose to say yes to me, to say yes to a resourced and balanced day and week. Sometimes I have days that are a little bit busy, a little bit frazzled. I kind of enjoy those because I know that the following day is a nice gentle. Thursdays for me are pretty hectic. In fact, this week, Wednesday is hectic because I've got the radio show and all the things that I have to do beforehand and all the things I need to get done afterwards. Yeah. And that's on revolutionradio.com. You can listen on demand. Plug. But then I've got Thursdays where I've got busy stuff in the morning, going live in the afternoon. Plus, today I was live with somebody else. I was just watching their live. It was a subject I was interested in. With Christina, who came on here last week before. So I was doing that, then I was doing this, and I've got dog walk in between. And so he's only had a quick walk, so he can have a longer one later on. But I choose to say yes to a resourced and balanced week. I choose to say yes, to take little pauses, even in the middle of those really hectic days, tiny little pauses, just to appreciate. Just to appreciate the people and the things around you. Everything, really, appreciating everything. Saying yes to just smiling and being happy, stronger version of myself as a whole being than I was 15 years ago, or even yesterday. I was looking back at some of my Facebook posts when soon after my husband died, I threw myself headfirst into getting physically stronger because it was the only way I was going to be able to survive life without him, was to be physically strong enough to do all of the work on the barge that needed to be done. And it was only a matter of weeks before he died that he was still helping me up the stairs. My home being downstairs I mean, my bedroom being downstairs in a barge, you walked in the front door and that was like living quarters, and then you went downstairs to the bedroom. But the biggest choice that I've made is choosing to trust what I know to be true. And that means every now and again, you can't see it. I wish I had a mirror here, but on next to my camera's here, right? Next to my camera, I've got two stickers. One says, "Is this true?" Yeah. The other one says, "Is this me?" Now, the "is this true" one will be sort of more apparent after next week's content, because I've got a lot on next week. There's a lot for you next week. It's almost like I'm going to be teaching you in little nuggets next week, a module that didn't get put into the 3P system. But I want to teach it because more and more people are coming to me not knowing how to value themselves. Because one thing that I know to be true is that in order to truly value yourself, you need to discover and understand your values. Not the ones that your parents have given you, not the ones that your teachers instilled in you, not the ones that you learned from being in the armed forces, yeah? Your values. There's just one more thing I wanted to say. And I have proved to myself that intentional choice is what I call it. Actually intentionally choosing makes such a big difference to changing outcomes. And in the same way that Amy here, wonderful Amy, has had a no fun experience of being in foster care herself, she's literally made the intentional choice of becoming a foster parent in order to change the outcomes for the kids that she now looks after. And in order to do that, I needed to discover my values. You know, in order to make this decision that I was going to employ intentional choice. Lovely to speak to everybody. If you're watching on the replay, start your comments with #replay so that I know you're watching the replay. And by all means, just ask your questions under this video, or just message me. Yeah, just start a conversation with any questions about the lives, the workshops, the content, anything that I do. Even if you just want to talk to me about Buddy, who is, oh, I thought he was right behind me, but he's gone off somewhere. But anyway, I've got to get on. Nice to see you all. You have a wonderful day out, Amy, and good luck with all the homeschooling. See, now I've mentioned him, he's sloped in again. So bye for now, everybody. Bye for now.